you're using the jump mat, right?
Yep.
So if you didn't have the jump mat, do you think you would be able to do the same? Would you be able to find a way to keep doing the auto reg with your jumps without the jump mat? And then for Chris, you've got the 1080, and how are you using that? Are you looking at drop offs with that?
Definitely. Yeah. Take her away here, Ross.
So I will preface in that I'm not doing anything auto-regulatory at all with my high school kids. Zero. I'm not doing any. Now, my thought in that is that, one, I don't see them long enough to even need to auto-reg them. Like, I got a 25 minute lift. Like, they don't need it. And so, two, I also do think that there is some value with those younger kids that, one, they can't produce enough consistent outputs to auto regulate it. So like a kid, he could jump 22, he could jump 24, then he jumps 21. Like he's really inconsistent, and it doesn't have his nervous system so dialed up that we're going to be steady with our jumps. And so I just don't trust it. Now, if I didn't have a jump mat, then I would say I would maybe try to broad jump, but even then you can fake your way to a long broad jump, and there's so much technique involved in a broad jump that I don't think you could do it per se. I think from there you would then just have to base it off the lift itself with the time sets and X number of reps in X number of seconds, and you would just have to be really tight with it. But yeah, if I didn't have the jump mat, I think that's probably what I would do.
Yeah, and to answer my part of the question, so I do have a jump mat, and a lot of my auto reg training is used through that. Now, I really only use auto reg training in the off season, kind of like with Ross there, and like most coaches, I get my athletes twice a week, and like we just got to get work in, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And Ross kind of touched on the practicality of when you have an entire team for an hour, if one person drops off at set 4 and another goes to set 7, logistically, practically, like what are they going to do? But yeah, so I personally, again, at the college level, use broad jumps for auto reg. I use my jump mat for auto reg. All my broad jumps that I do and on the jump mat are hand on hip. So it takes away a good bit of the technique, and they get pretty dialed in. If I sense like, that was just a bad jump, I'll let them go again or give them 2 chances before I say that they dropped off. But yeah, I'll use a tape measure and a yardstick and do broad jumps for A-reg. And then I'll also use my jump mat. Now on the 1080, mostly I'll look at time. And once they start to drop below their PR for the day on the time, I cut them. If they're not running fast, something's up. But weird enough, and this could be maybe a subject for another day, I have found that very rarely, if ever, do I have an athlete that has a good day on the jump mat and sprinting on the same day. Like super weird, but when people PR in the hallway with their sprint on the 1080, they have their worst day on the jump mat. And when they do really well on the jump mat, they have their best day sprinting in the hallway. Super weird. And then there's days where they're just crappy at both, but it makes me seem like Houdini when they're like, oh man, I'm doing so bad on the jump mat today. It's like, how are your sprints? They're pretty good though, right? Like, yeah. But yeah, that's how I do it with the tools and the time that I have. Mostly I'm using auto reg during summer when I have a lot less athletes and a lot more time.